Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 14th, and tonight we are going to be exploring the idea of opening the portal of your heart. Eleonora is going to be leading us in teaching and meditation, as we often always do here in our free Sacred Center calls. Today's a little different, and that we're really going to be focusing on the energy of the heart, the personal heart, the more expansive universal heart. As we're exploring this work today, we'll be mentioning Chumpi Illumination, CHIL, which is Eleonora's pioneering and signature healing system that's taught at the Sacred Center. If at any point you're kind of wondering how this all works and where to go with this, we invite you to head over to sacredcenter.net. That's where you can purchase a copy of the new book, which I happen to have a copy of right here, Divine Embodiment, the Art and Practice of Chumpi Illumination. And you can also take the free, the on-demand video class. That's the intro to CHIL, that once you've taken that, you really can start beginning your studies at the Mystery School, at the Healing School. And that's right there on the homepage. And we'll make sure we send out those links. So as we explore tonight, if anything's unfamiliar, that's okay. There's lots of resources to follow up on, but we invite you just to really kind of settle in, open your heart, and Elle's always, I know as Elle always says, if you have any questions, you can always just reach out to her. So and before we start, I just want to bring your attention to the events calendar, in that there's going to be the next CHIL class that's open to folks is coming up in August. So if you check out sacredcenter.net/events, that's a great place to really dive in after you've taken the online intro. So without further ado, we'll get started.
Good evening, everyone, from whatever part of the world you're tapping into. So as we were going through the virtual wisdom call, this week actually turned out to be number 4, and number 4 is all about the heart. And the waters that we were using are about being in love, and the waters coincide with number 4. And of course, there are 4 chambers of the heart. So we decided to just really make this a more an actual meditation on how do we actually get into that radiant heart, the divine heart, the heart that holds our emotions, that holds our worries and our fears, and yet also taps into the physical heart as well. So how can we go through the physical heart, resonate with that, and hold all the emotions, all our birth stuff, our genetic stuff, and find a doorway somewhere in there, or have the doorway find us, so that we can access this more universal radiant space that is the heart of the universe, that is a direct portal to our own physical heart. Actually, when spirit comes into form, when the mother in the womb finds out they're pregnant with child, it's the heartbeat that they connect with first, the heartbeat, and the body of the child forms around this heartbeat. And somewhere along the line, the emotions, the psychologicals, all of that stuff separate the being from its origins, from its actual place of universal creation, of love, of what we're really made of. And it's always been my quest to bring that light, let's call it light or radiant place, into ourselves, because actually if we would bring more of this light into ourselves, our physical bodies would begin to heal and become more vibrant, radiant, vibrant. So that's kind of the focus today. And the whole Chumpi Illumination way, let's call it way, uses a really old but tried and true formula. And the formula is that we use a form, because we could sit here and meditate and you could follow me with the sounds that I'm going to play. But the way just after many, many years of doing this and being around in many, many ceremonies with indigenous people from Peru, from India, from Kathmandu, from just locally, from doing many ceremonies with despachos, there's always, the way is to sit in a geometric form, a form. And the form that I chose, or it chose me tonight, or it chose us, is the diamond. And it's a great form. The diamond is so reflective of our heart because it looks very harsh and hard when you don't shine it up. I mean, it looks amazingly like a rock, right? But as you shine it up, there's so many facets to it, and the radiance, the shine and the brilliance comes through. You look at it this way, you see a shine. You look at it that way, you see a shine. Sitting in that radiance, one can actually find a portal. So a portal that will take us into a greater space where emotions, anything that comes up in your mind as we go through this meditation, can just be dissolved or can go back to the source, right? Actually, these things that stay in our minds are keeping them in our minds, right? And in our physical bodies. But when we're carrying the source or plugged into a greater reality or the source or that radiance, that density of the emotions just goes back to the source, the light, or to the oneness that is. So we have the form, then we're going to play some, our intention is to find that portal or have that portal find us, and go beyond the emotionality of, I'm sure everyone here resonates with that, with the stress. I mean, it's just even the, even some of my clients that are like very successful in every which way, financially and otherwise, will just come clean and say, but I wake up and I look at my phone, and I read the news and I read everything, and I can't get out of that, that attachment to the phone. And so all of this, stricture is keeping us from expansion of the heart, and is causing a lot of heart palpitation, a lot of like physical reactions, with autoimmune stuff, stress stuff, heart stuff, liver stuff, you name it. That kind of stuff is us not being able to find the doorway that's there that takes us into the greater reality, into the heart of all hearts. So we have an intention that's clear, but it's awesome that collectively we can get together and do it all together, right? Rather than do it separately. Because what we do in a group, we can manifest this in a much greater way in a group than individually. Anyone have any questions? I didn't give the details of it, but that's the overall theme. We have a form and an intention or a thought. I'm going to play sounds. I brought out some new bowls that were stored in my back closet that wanted to come out today. And then we're going to just be part of something greater than ourselves that we may not know, and relax into it and see what attachments, let's call it that, gets released and just goes back to the light. Let's put it that way. Sometimes the words are just not quite clear enough, but it's more about just sitting in the energy of it. But the one thing is the pyramid requires the diamond requires 4 stones. If you don't have chumpies, just use stones so that you can actually lay in something that you feel, right? Because when we feel it, then we are actually settled into it. Also, from just the many years of using a form, I realized that in a lot of healing sessions, when things are real quiet, then the body and the mind are looking for the place that they need to be. You know, they're looking for the place, the higher place. When you have a form that represents something, people just chill out. We sort of say like, okay, that's what it is. That's what we're doing. So they feel held in a gateway or a doorway. And so within that, people go inward. They don't go looking for answers outward. They go inward, which is a big part of the work, is to find what's really here, not what's not here. Everything's here. Everything is here. There's nothing mysterious about, we got to find something and it looks like that. And it's, you know, like bells and whistles. It's all here within every cell of our body, but our mind is blocking it from being brilliant. So that's really what the work's all about, is to find what is already here, and finding it through a portal has really worked for the classes for me. Finding the doorway, because I love doorways. I love the little doorway that nobody sees, only I go through it. And then there's like, oh my God, I'm in another planet or whatever it is, another universe. So, do you have anything to add, Sue? Being one of our renowned students and practitioner.
I think that you've kind of tapped into exactly what it is that you can't go and get it. It's something that you can't say, well, all right, so we're going to go into the heart. I'm going to go get that. You have to have it find you. You have to drop in. You know, it isn't something you go and you get, because there's always in our minds a how to. How do I get there? How do I do that? And this is not about that at all. This is a lot about letting yourself be seen and dropping in. So that's all I have to say.
Okay.
I have something. The book actually talks about the essence number 4, and I thought this was pretty neat. The way it's described is that these waters open you to the power of the present moment, and I think that being in the present moment is part of this whole medicine mix, because when we're caught up in emotionality, or just whatever wraps us up and wraps up our heart, we're not really truly able to be in the present moment. So talks about just the power of the present moment, and so that it allows you to dwell in a state of compassion and fall deeply in love with all of life. That's from the book, and I just love that description. I love this water essence, and the number 4 as well, the Chumpi stone number 4, of course. So,
and that water came from Pumamarca, which is a very small temple right outside of Cusco. And Puma, the place of the Puma. So the Puma represents in the Andean culture, like the jaguar, like the lower world or interior world is representative of the snake or the serpent, right? Like the DNA. The upper world is the condor or the eagle. The puma is the one that walks right on the seam of the past and the future, the now. The puma walks in the now, and that's the puma energy straddles both worlds. So it's sort of like when we were in that temple, there's nowhere to go, nothing to find. It doesn't really feel actually like, it's not like Machu Picchu and, or any of these greater temples. It's very seductive, but very, not shiny. And there was water that, of course, the water is coming out of the cave, and it comes from one of the glaciers close to there. So, and the other thing that you reminded me of, Denise, is compassion. We called it compassion, or it called itself compassion, for self, which brought me to, it's not having compassion for others, it's embodying the state of consciousness of compassion. Means we are who we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all together. And the light always overcomes the darkness. So if we really get that, then we get that we're not fixing anything because something's wrong. We could, of course, make our diamond more brilliant by shining this side up and shining that side up, and but to me, it's a powerful just truth, is that we, have compassion for ourselves is a good one. Thanks.
I love the way we've kind of called everyone into the sort of great sea that is what gets discussed and what's part of the Sacred Center and all of this work. I'm wondering if it might be helpful just to talk a little bit about the heart and your understanding of sort of the architecture of the heart a little bit. I know in learning from you, the idea of the gold that's within the heart, the idea of opening up the back of the heart, some of those ideas really help me go from this idea of like, oh yeah, I should open my heart, of course. And it sounds a little bit like Hallmark or a little bit like something everybody else says, but there's a way in which you've really taught us to understand kind of the truest power and potential of the heart in these different ways. Maybe we could go through that a little bit. You mentioned that idea of the 4 chambers of the heart. That's the physical heart. Maybe we could just discuss how you see it kind of working at the emotional and spiritual level.
So thanks for reminding me about the gold, because the gold is a really important hallmark or place setting, where when you tap into the heart, and what you do is you listen to your heartbeat. And how many of us actually do that on a daily basis? We get up, we do our thing, we have our coffee. How many of us actually listen to our heartbeat? Not many, I'm sure. So when we get into meditation and you listen to your heart beating, and you're focusing right here, heart, thymus area, sternum, and then you're noticing the breath that you're taking, it all becomes like daunting, like, oh my God, this is so spiritual and creative. Like, how does this body work? It's fascinating how the beating of the heart and the breath take you into, if you just focus on it, into a slowing down of the mind and a like a meditation kind of thing. And then all these thoughts come up, and these pictures and these sometimes worries, but they all come up, and you let them come up. The mind will start to regurgitate things that you locked up in different file cabinets, like, oh, I forgot that, or what about that? And you might even come up with, the more you do this, some past lives that you've come in contact with, or old boyfriends, or kindergarten or childhood things, or even in the womb things. And you let them come up, because underneath that all, that heart is beating steady. No matter what you think about, that heart is beating, right? And you're breathing. And it brings you into a place where you're holding your emotions with compassion, or you're not reacting to them, which leads you to a very important place. The place is a portal. It is in back of the heart. It's a door. It's gold. It's a very gold. There's a reason why gold was so, they say some of the even extraterrestrials came to the planet Earth in search of gold. Gold is that texture between this world and the next, right? It's the doorway. But whatever comes to you, is fine. But then you find that doorway in back of the heart, and then your mind, body, spirit moves into a place of I put it down. There's something Yeah, this is what I channeled in right before. If we are to become an ever-evolving species, may we consider opening the portal, the goal, to our heart, which leads you to the meeting of your soul, place where you meet your soul, which aids you in becoming your true, authentic, part of the whole, yet deeply individual self. And that's the point, right? Where, of course, when we pass on to the next world and we drop our bodies, we become, part of the whole. But this is about keeping your individual self and being part of the whole. And you get better and better at it. Better and better means embracing those emotional places, embracing those memories, embracing them in a way where you don't judge them and don't react to them. Reacting to them brings you back to this and the mind then is controlling you, and that's where you're limited. So the meditation just gets better and better and deeper, and less, and not, a place where you don't try so hard. This is all about not doing, actually, as Sue said, it's about not doing, which is sort of like against our nature, I think. We're always trying to fix something that we think is wrong. We didn't get into that college. It was the one place we really wanted to get into. We saved up our money to go. We prayed, we did malas, we did everything, and we did not get in. How come? Well, 2 years later, you find out why. Something opened up, you got into some place that, was much more beneficial for you. I'm sure, everyone has had, situations like this into their life. That place of surrender is the important place. Surrender and find the portal, and let the portal find you, rather. Is that more explanatory?
I think so. And I love this idea of, opening the portal without pushing or pulling or even needing a key, and just really remembering that sense of surrender that you've taught so much about too.
Yeah, right. And also one of the themes we always bring up is to be comfortable in not knowing what you don't know. That brings you into such a deep awakening of the true self that we are, And once you get the hang of it, it actually is so freeing. And every day is an adventure, rather than like, oh, I got to do this today, or, oh, whatever. Well, actually, both happens. Oh, I got to do this today. Oh my God, this is a great day. It comes together. This is actually a great time of the year, right? We've had some calls during snowstorms and where lights didn't work and all that stuff.
Careful, there's thunderstorms coming through right now. Please, the little yellow out there right now in my house. So,
also, do you notice there are, we were talking about the snake in the garden before, but are you noticing all this life around you? It's such a wonderful time of the year here in the Hudson Valley, just flowers everywhere. We picked flowers from the garden. This is all from the garden. It's like crazy, like all this life that's happening all around us, So just sit back and let it consume you, me, and anybody else.
I was just gonna add in one thing about how the heart gets so conditioned by the conditions around us that, we pick up on these messages and these pressures of how to be, how to love, how to connect. And yet when that kind of falls away, when we drop into the authentic heart, then we get to discover in our own way, actually how we feel and how we love and how we connect. And we transcend all of the cultural conditioning and all the social programming and all the isms and all the internalized stuff that wasn't really ours to begin with. And then that, diamond gold heart truth really, is what's at the center for us as we move forward. And I see that so often in a lot of the work that I do, from an emotional standpoint and also from a somatic standpoint, in terms of, as you mentioned, like how the body's organized and how so much information is processed through the heart and the pericardium and the thymus. And like, that's the part of us that actually really does the most amazing work. But yet all of our instinct and intellect is pulling us, back into those systems that don't really quite serve us. So when we shift out of that and come into that illuminated heart energy, it's such a relief to just be authentic.
Yeah, thanks. And it's true. It's really true. And somehow we think if we have, if we did this, then this would happen. If we did this, then that would happen, as though there were one line that we had to do to say, create order. I mean, there's so many people that come here too that never had blood pressure issues. And now all of a sudden they go get a dental procedure or something in the doctor's office, and they've got high blood pressure. There's such a conditioning that's happening that it has created a collective that's overwhelmed with thought and less able to process information without needing to come up with a solution or a conclusion. The processing of all this information is very difficult for us. I think we're morphing into something where our brains will be able to hopefully process more and more information, because it's really blowing the fuse. It's like, our sockets are connected to so many wires that we're just, blowing our fuses. So this is a very important point. And also ceremony. To me, this becomes a ceremony of every day, walking, driving, when things just get a little, like I was in the city when the clouds, the dark, I had no idea of all the days I was going to the city. That was the one day I went in. And then all of a sudden, everything got like dark brown, and people were like, oh my God, it's like, what's happening? And I had not a clue. And then so then I was like, okay, let's just go inside and close the windows. Okay. And it was just this, the sky is falling. It's pretty intense anyway, but it was just a sort of an active exercise in, okay, what do we do? Where do we go? Let's take this as some sort of mantra of not knowing what we don't know, and just doing the best we can in the moment, right? And settling into the heart space, which is always very soothing. It's self-soothing. See, babies know this. They begin to know this very early on, how to self-soothe. So we use drugs. Babies use their thumb. We use medication. Anyway, I get off the subject. Okay. So people need to get 4 stones out of 5 stones. One always goes on the heart, right? And then 4 stones. If you don't have chumpies, just pick any stones. If you have the cards, use the cards, and we'll see where it leads us. Okay.
Elle, do you want to just describe one more time where everybody's placing them, if it matters how far away? Where is the diamond, at the shoulder, the hip? Where would the
diamond is at the stones on the side are at the hip.
Okay.
And they're closer in because it's not a square, it's the shape of a diamond. And then one on the heart, anything that you find is that you're really connected to, so that when you have a stone on your heart, your mind can connect to it a lot easier than wandering around finding this space. And you'll notice the changing of the sound. So the first sound will be more the physical, right? The heartbeat. And then the second sound will go into more of the mind and the emotions and the thoughts, still holding the heartbeat. And then the third sound will be the portal, the golden gateway. Okay. Okay. Let me just turn this. Did I do it? Oh,
Does
yeah.
it say on? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'll give everybody a moment. You're ready, you can come back. Well, thank you everyone for creating such an incredibly magical space here. There truly was something that channeled through. So thank you very much. My heart thanks you. Any kind of response or just a few words about what that felt like? Or how you might use this?
Well, I feel very changed. When I laid down, it took a little bit because, of course, you've got the busyness of the day, and the mind is kind of like niggling at you, and then it's just started to quiet, quiet, quiet. And then I felt like somebody had their hands on my feet, somebody had their hands on my temple, and then I don't even know where. I can't put words to it because it felt like another place. But when I come out, I just feel so present and quiet and not full of thought, right?
Shay has her hand out.
Shay.
There you are.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
So, of course, I always see the animal family first, but as soon as you hit the bowls, I was very like heavy. My whole body felt very heavy, and my mind always races. And I saw a lot of geese, like ducks, geese, chicken, and then all of a sudden, I saw the actual inside of my physical heart, like a heart, and then the surgical team, it was a guy and there were other people there. I didn't see them, turned me on my side and went to the back of me and like worked on me, which was bizarre. So that's all I can say. It was really heavy, really good. I don't know who was working on me. I have no idea. One of your people, Al, one of your beings were, it was a guy, he had a surgical mask on and he was going in the back of my heart, which you said there was a golden door there. So obviously I myself couldn't get to it because I just kept like trying to just let it be and like try to just open up my heart. And I guess they were helping with that. I think.
That's just a great thing you just said. Trying to let it be. It's just the greatest, the
I was
great.
trying to just let it be, but my mind races. But a lot of, what is it, like a goose? I kept seeing all these little like ducks and goose. I have no idea what that
Maybe
means.
Robin's on the call up there in Syracuse. She's got a lot of geese around
I
her.
don't know. But then as soon as you hit those bowls, like I immediately saw the inside of my heart. And
Nice.
then towards the middle to the end, your people were working on me.
There was a time towards the end where the sound sort of was the golden. I felt like the doorway really felt like it was
Right.
the doorway for everyone.
Felt like they were trying to help me open up that golden door, but I actually saw the inside of my heart.
Nice.
Yeah, wild, pretty wild. Mm-hmm.
And the goose did lay the golden egg. It doesn't seem like a coincidence.
Very good.
But
Well,
that's a
thank you.
story
Yeah.
that's part of us. Like that, there's
Yeah.
something to that. Like, what if
That's true.
there's some real elemental magic in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That's interesting. I never even thought of that. That's pretty clever. Yeah, well, thanks, Al. Very good.
Okay. You're welcome.
Just to
More?
piggyback on that, actually, I realized that my triangle started, its edges began to round, and it really was creating like an oval shape around me. There was that, after like going into the heart and really feeling stretched from into the ground and up into the sky, and then around me, the orb itself lost its edges, and I realized maybe I got to be inside Shay's golden egg.
Mm. Mm. It was clearly a great example that will probably never be duplicated about what it is to have the doorway open up in this way tonight, right now, you know. It was definitely clear when that doorway was visible or what everyone was tapping into it. And I clearly believe in my heart of hearts that, and I say this every time, that collectively with strong intention, magic happens. And when I say magic, I mean like manifestation of energy stuff that we're trying to do. It actualizes into something real and palpable that makes a difference in your life. And that's kind of the point, you know? Yes.
Yes, I love the way you
Yes,
said that, Eleonora.
yes, yes.
That was very beautifully put, and it's very, very true. As far as how this affects our daily lives, how this work and the results of being in this work really affect our daily lives. I know that for me, I felt like this was a little bit of we've done heart meditations and before, so it felt a little bit of a well-trodden pathway once my mind shut off, but with a little extra thread in there. So there was a lot of familiar territory, but there was an extra thread of something that was that made it all much more palpable and accessible in once I am not laying in this formation. It's accessible to me, like in my everyday life. I feel like, who just said it? That I'm changed or something. So did you? I'm not sure how you said that, but yeah, I felt that way as well. And at the end of it, I just felt my whole body just sink in, like physically just sink in, drop in, like, and then you were like, okay, we're done. When you're ready, you can come back at the last second.
Yeah. And try doing it at night, right before you go to sleep. Just that place. You don't, you'll listen to your heartbeat, find yourself in the chest, and then the doorway is right accessible. And then the doorway is important at night because then you really do have the opportunity to transition into a place that is no mind, you know? So and things happen there, or things happen to you that kind of makes this more and more embodied as time goes on. And then, you'll be in a busy subway and you'll listen to your heartbeat and find the doorway. Maybe. How was that, Mateo?
I'm really struck by the awareness or the sensation of how there's like an unwinding. So we enter into this form and we've got this collective energy, right? We're here in our council, we've got our committee, we've got our collaborators, our co-conspirators, and all of our, guest visitors helping out, whether they're in surgical masks or not. But that collective form holds us in a way that allows something else to unwind. And I was really struck for myself, just the feeling of like getting into that place where there's a rhythm and there's a structure and there's just this beautiful golden sense of well-being and connectedness. And then whatever else might be clouding the story or kind of clogging the system just kind of was unwinding and just kind of going somewhere else. It just wasn't staying. It wasn't really magnetically attracted or stuck the way it was in the past. So I'm just thinking about, we're moving into the space collectively, and then whatever we don't really need to take with us, kind of like it just unwinds itself away.
I was, as you were saying that, I got this vision of this, still water, this still lake in this water, and like the steam just arising from it, in the mid morning. It's not light out, but it's a little dark, and this steam from the waters just kind of rise up and go somewhere without, without any effort whatsoever. Yeah, thanks for that. I really appreciate the verbalization of the meditation, because it's on tape, and I think that it's a good one for people who aren't so familiar with doing, let's call it this work, to just tap into it and like see how it feels a little bit different, or feels just stable. Like you said, it has a form, it's stable, it's got structure. So do our cells. Bringing light into our cells makes us healthier every day in every way, period. Isn't that the point? We become more vibrant, So thanks, everyone. Anybody else that hasn't been on the call that wants to say, have a few words here, or? Okay, if not, then please do what Marisa said. Marisa.
Yes, that was for my kids, and that was for all of you too. Do what Marisa said. And that is to remember to go to the website if you're interested in exploring further, to look at the intro video that's on demand. It's really, really affordable, meant for you just to be able to take a couple of hours, dive deep, experience this work. It's a beautiful companion to the book, to really hear Elle describe, take you deep, really experience it as you're learning it, to enter into all that's unknown and all that can be known about the Chumpis and how they work, forms, how to use sound. And once you've taken that, you'll be ready to take class in August, either at the Sacred Center or online. And we'll be coming back with another one of these wonderful gatherings sometime soon over the summer. We haven't set a date yet, but we'll be in touch.
And the thing, and also the waters are on the website under the marketplace. So if any of the waters that we use during any of these meditations, they're not that expensive. Just purchase one, and you could sort of embody it through the water, which.
You can keep all of these things right by your laptop. Welcome to the Sacred Center.
I am so in love with everyone right now. So thank you for that.
I just want to say that the water is for number 4, which is the heart, is being in love.
Right.
And that's what I've been putting in my glass for the last month.
It helps prevent road rage. Anyway, love you all, and I'm always open for discussion or conversation through the email. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Good night. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.